there, friends! I told you I'd be back soon, and here I am. Welcome to the continuation episode of Simpleton Solos, a series in which a simpleton plays one of his favorite board games. In the last episode, we set off on our intergalactic voyage into the final frontier, boldly going where no man had gone before in Deep Space D-6, a solo dice game. We left our journey off with a bang. What surprises will the second half of our playthrough hold for us? Let's warp our way into the playthrough and find out. After some unfortunate rolls, we thankfully were given what we actually needed this time around, which is excellent. So get out of here. It's still going to give us more threats, but we'll see what we find. Don't panic. Nothing happens. Yep, I think the threats with space just saw our massive arsenal unloaded on those 4 ships, and they're like, you know, maybe let's rethink this decision to bother this ship. It seems as though it is more than capable of mass annihilation when it wants to. Alright, let's give these a roll. Unfortunately, it's not going to offer us many benefits. If we go to the repair spot, we could get us back to full health, but more than likely we're going to reveal 1 or 2 of those. See, indeed, there it is. Let's assign this here, which is going to give us back to 8. Let's use the command die to change this to a medical resource. Hello, there we go. Which we will then use to unlock that die. This science resource, unfortunately, we're at full shields. We can't stasis beam anything, so that is a waste. But that's okay. I think after the massive handoff that the game gave us on the last round, I suppose I'm willing to forgive such an oversight. Alright, we have a 1 health fighter on a 2 and 4. It does -1 hull. That's not so bad. And that's a 3 right in the middle, so we are not going to worry about that puny fighter. No sirree, Bob. Alright, give these a roll. Oh no, look at that. So even though we have the command die, and it would be nice if I could assign that to change the threat detected, the rules specify that these are assigned first and foremost before you get to do anything else. And with those 3 right there, they will come to be returned to my pool for the next round, which is good. But what's bad is they spawn another threat card, which was a don't panic.
There goes another one.
Hold your fire. There's no light forms, unless it's short-circuited.
It turns out. So I will not panic. I surely won't. Let's use this to use a stasis beam. Pop. We are going to... I guess that we really don't have to, because I'm going to do this here to the bridge to change this to a tactical resource, which, since that thing only has 1 health, means we've blown it out of the sky. Very good. Okay, I'll get these dice back, and it's threat time. Time warp. This is an internal threat requiring us to give 2 science dice. On a roll result of 2, all threats recover 1 health. Oh boy. Thankfully, we don't have any threats in play, but that could have been incredibly unfortunate at the time when we had 3 here. I guess we'll roll anyway, but there's no threats for it to heal, so that may have been a waste of time. Oh no, let's put that right there. Let's get these dice back. Let's hope we can get 2 scientists out of this roll. Indeed! Oh, let's go ahead and assign that right there, though I think what I'm going to do is get that out of there by using this command die to make a medical die. There we go. To return that die for the next round. And this command die, I have no use for it, so we'll just go ahead, leave it as is. Excuse me, grabbing all these cards and all these boards instead of these dice here. I apologize. Alright, we get our 6 dice back. It's threat time. What do we got? Panel explosion. You may not assign engineering dice. And it is cured with a medical die. No bueno. I'm not going to bother rolling the dice because this is not a dice triggered ability. However, I will roll these dice, hoping to get that medical die. Okay, we got 1 of these up here, of course. Not too shabby. We can't assign this right now. Not that we even need it, because we currently have no damage to our hull. Let's go ahead and assign this right here. And we'll change this to a medical die to put there. And then let's go ahead and assign that there to make this a medical die to free up that die right there. And then this we could assign, but there's no point, as it were. So we will set that right there. We'll get all of our dice back, and we will see what threats are in store for us. The game is being rather generous to us today. Oh, here we go. Nebula. Shields are offline. Oh, dear. -1 Nebula health. When destroyed, shields online. -1 Nebula health when destroyed, shields online. Oh, it damages itself, it looks like. Interesting. If you roll one of those. Okay, so I think I get it. So the idea is that this nebula is interfering with our shields, and while we are at such a point where this is the case, and this is in play, we basically don't get to count our shields when dealing damage. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll that die, which means it'll do everything but a 6. Okay, yep. So -1 nebula health. So it's now at 1 health left. I think we could probably do 1 health. The interesting thing is I don't know what that icon there is. I'm not sure what that is. Let's take a quick peek here. See if this tells us. Halcyon 6 Nebula. When this card is revealed, immediately place the shield tracker cube on the shield space. Oh. While this card is in play, you may not use or recharge shields. Once destroyed, return the shield tracker to the 0 position. Okay, so unfortunately... Oh, you know what? I think I may have these backwards. Because that's a green cube. Nah, it fits better on the board that way, doesn't it? So I'm going to set that right there. Okay, so we have to get rid of this thing before we can get our shield cube back. And once we do, it's going to be at 0, so we're going to have to recharge it before it's going to do any benefits to us. Huh, that's an interesting card. Okay. All right, it's our turn. Maybe we can blast that nebula to oblivion. All right. We can't use our science die to recharge the shields yet because of the fact that our shield cube is currently over here. So I think first and foremost we need to get rid of that nebula. So let's change this die to a tactical resource. Boom, boom, boom. I shot the nebula. Indeed. Okay, that nebula has been destroyed because we dealt 1 damage from our weapons bay, which is going to set this to 0. And the good news is we have a science die that we can assign right here to recharge our shields. Very good. Now the rest of this junk, I don't have a whole lot I can do with it. So I'm just going to leave it the way that it is, return my dice, and reveal the next threat card. We have Distracted, which is an internal threat. Return this unit, then discard. So I guess it looks like we have to assign 1 of our crew dice right here. Let's just check and make sure that's the case. Distracted. When this card's revealed, immediately place a crew die on the empty space. This unit is unavailable till the threat is activated or completed. Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and set that right there. So essentially we are 1 die short, and it will require 2 medical dice to fix. We have 1 medical die, which is not going to be quite enough to fix it. We have a science die, which won't do us any good. We could fire weapons, but it doesn't make sense. We can't fire weapons over at a distracted unit unless we want to annihilate them. And in this case, that appears to be one of our commanding officers. So I suppose that would get us court-martialed pretty quickly.
Hey, you can put an eye out with that thing. Fred?
None of this stuff is going to help us, so let us reveal the next threat card. Hijackers. Interesting. So this is one that's fascinating. It has a health value of 4, or if you assign 2 command dice to it, you can actually get rid of it that way too, which is interesting. And then on a 4 or a 5 result, we're going to lose 2 whole. Let's roll. That is a 4. Oh no. So when it says an unspecified damage to the hull, it goes to shields first. So we'll do 2 damage over there to our shields. And I think 4 activates this as well. Return this unit and then discard. Okay. Well, I guess getting slammed and shellacked by the hijackers was enough to get our commanding officer to pay attention to his comms board again. Very good. All right, let us roll. Magnificent. Okay, we got another one of these. It's been a little while since we've seen a threat detected symbol. Now we have one command die, which is half of what we need. Unfortunately, not two. We have two of these dice, however, which is going to give us 3 damage. If we get one more there, that's 5 damage, which will take out this 4 health unit. And we can do that by assigning that here. Let's get this to the tactical. So that's going to be 5 damage points on a 4 damage target. Kaboom! Get out of here, hijackers. And naturally, we have one left over to return this die to our die pool. Very good. Very good. Magnificent, I would say. I'll be honest, this is going, dare I say it, rather well. Normally it doesn't go this well for me. However, we have seen a number of those Don't Panic cards. So I think most of the rest of this stuff is just going to be actual threats and not these weak things. Well, okay, I guess we will still have weak things like this fighter here, for example.
General resistance ship approaching. Guns and shields in attack mode.
A single light fighter.
But no more freebies. All right, so we rolled a 1. That's a 2 and 4. It activates on, so we're okay. Let's roll our dice. Okay, that's going to go up there. However, I'm going to use this to free it. Then, I don't have any attack resources. I could use a stasis beam on it, though. I'll use this here to recharge our shields back to full, since we did take a little bit of damage there. And then the rest of this is practically useless to us, unfortunately. Oh, no. Please. I have an idea. Let us right-click. We'll go to toggles, and we'll lock the board in place. Huh? How about that? Very good. Programming genius over here. Okay, this is, he's in a stasis beam, so it doesn't really matter if I roll or not, because he's not going to be able to utilize that ability anyway. However, I guess we should roll because we do have to reveal this guy. Oh, no. Okay, so we have a 4 here we have rolled. He had the stasis beam, so that's not going to do anything for him. However, this guy over here, with this 4, he's going to do 2 damage to our hull. Oh, no. And then, interestingly, down here, we could just get rid of the boarding ship by using 1 tactical resource, but we have to send it to the infirmary if we don't want to try to deal with 4 damages worth of health. Fascinating. Alright. So we have 2 command dice. That 2 command die ship is already dead, or otherwise we would be able to potentially use that. Here we go. One of these getting locked. We could put that right there. And let's... I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put both of these guys in the bridge. Then we'll change this to a tactical resource. Oh, there we go. 1 damage. Bam. Get out of here, fighter. Okay. And then with this other one, we will change this one to a science resource to get our shields back to full. Nah, because we're not going to be... Well, I guess we could potentially get attacked by whatever's there. Hey, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to... Whoops. There we go. We're going to make it a medical resource to get this die back in our pool going forward. And we're going to hope that whatever comes out next is not going to do us any immediate or at least extensive damage. Okay. We have a fighter, and we gambled correctly, it turns out. So very good. We'll roll this die. This guy is under the effect of a stasis beam, but this other guy could potentially hit us. Not with a roll result of 1, though. He will not be damaging us this time around. Okay, we get one of these, naturally. Ooh. Well, so here's an idea. So, I'm actually not going to try and destroy this thing. I'm going to assign this guy over here. Bam, and send to infirmary. So, he's going to the infirmary. But the boarding ship has been taken care of. We boarded the boarding ship, and we took it out from the inside, but our strike team has unfortunately been incapacitated in that process. However, we know that we can change one of these to a medical die, boop, to return all units from infirmary. So that guy who was in the infirmary has now been treated through our medical science. Excellent. Let's go ahead and assign this right here to do 1 damage to that fighter. Bingo. And this right here, I guess it's not going to do us a whole lot of good no matter what we do. So we will leave it as is, and we will get all these dice back, unfortunately leaving that one. Okay. Oh, we have a flagship. Ooh, he's a big one. All right, we have 4 health on this guy on a 4, 5, and 6. -3 to our hull. Oh, dear. He rolled a 1, though, so we are okay this time around. We need to get rid of that guy ASAP. All right. We have dice number 2. Oh, there it is. Locked up there. We need 1 more die, and then we're going to reveal a bonus threat card, which is no bueno. Let's shoot him for 1. Put a stasis beam on him so that no matter what he does, or what he rolls, we're not going to be dealing with that. And let's go ahead and use this medical die to return one of these, and this thing unfortunately will not be very helpful to us. But I think overall that was not a bad idea. Alright, threat time, reveal a threat card. Ooh, we have an interceptor, and it looks to attack on almost everything. Basically everything but a 6. But it only does 1 damage in doing so. Okay, this 5 would activate this, but we thankfully have that flagship at the stasis beam, so it will not. This one, however, will do 1 damage to our hull. Okay. Gulp. It looks like we have 2 tough baddies here. What can we do about them? Well, it looks like we could treat their wounded if it comes to that. Unfortunately, as far as attacking goes, we will not be doing any such thing. Let's go ahead and put a stasis beam on that flagship again. And then with this die, let's go ahead and put a stasis beam on the other guy. There we go. And with these 2 medical resources, really we only need 1. But let us get that die out of the danger zone up there. Excellent. Let us gather our dice, and we will draw a card, and then we will roll. Okay, a strike bomber. We've seen this kind of guy before. Looks like on a 2 and 4, he would do -1 damage to our hull and send a unit to the infirmary. Alright, what does the threat die tell us to do? That is a 1. That would activate this, but this guy is stasified. Yes, indeed. And, pretty sure let me actually check, though. Very few times have I actually needed stasis beam. Place the assigned science die on any threat. This threat cannot be activated. Okay, it doesn't appear to list a limit. I was wondering if, like, oh, maybe we're only supposed to stasis beam 1 ship at a time. But it does not list any limits like that. So, we will play as though you can stasis beam multiple threats. Alrighty, we have some combat dice to work with. We do, unfortunately, have 1 of those. So if we were to assign both those here, that is 3 damage. We could take out the flagship, for example. And if we use this to change this command die to another attack, that's another 2 damage. We could take out both of these guys and put our stasis beam on the interceptor. I think that's exactly what we'll do. There we are. There we go.
I got him! Great hit! Don't get cocky!
And this guy is in the tractor beam, or the stasis beam. I'm sorry, we're not bringing him to our ship. Certainly not. All right, we have a destroyer here. A small ship, indeed, but has the potential to pack a punch. So let us see if he's going to whomp us. Nope, he does not. That 4 would activate this, but he's in a stasis beam, so he is relegated to sitting and watching uselessly until the next round anyway. All right, roll, roll, roll. Give me the goods. Okay, not so good there. We are 1 card away from getting one of those terrible threats. However, with these 3 tactical dice, we could deal a total of 5 damage, which this has 3, this has 2. Both together are going to be 5 damages. Bing, bing, boom. Excellent. That command die by itself is not going to do a whole lot for us, though, so we're going to have to let it go, and we are going to hope we do not see one of these before we're able to get some of those dice out of there. Alrighty, let's get a new threat. We have a shield platform. It protects external threats. Fascinating. So if we had other ships in play, essentially we would have to get rid of this first before being able to damage those. Good thing we tore through them as efficiently as we did. Okay, magnifique. Let's roll. We have, well, a little of everything. Okay, let's go ahead and shoot this. Boop. Give it 1 damage. We don't have any of this to repair. However, this stasis beam won't do any good here, so let's use it to fill that up. And let's return one of these dice to our pool. And again, this won't do us any good. I kind of wish the engineering dice could have a second effect. A lot of these have like a do this or that, but this one is just like you just repair your hull and that's about it. Okay, let's return this, this, and this, and reveal a threat. We have a scout. If you lost hull this round, lose an additional hull. So he doesn't do any damage in and of himself. He just sort of like plinks damage on top of what other people do. That's fascinating. I won't bother rolling because neither of these are roll related. Let's roll these, however. Oh, got another of these. But we do have a medical die to at least get one of them here. And going here and here, we have 3 damage. We could shoot. Oh, no, of course we can't. We have a shield platform which is protecting that scout. So we're going to have to shoot the scout first. So let's go ahead. Or not the scout, the shield platform first. Alright, and unfortunately, I guess we do have 1 damage left over. 1, 2, 3. Very good. So it wasn't an entire waste. This, however, is going to be something of a wasted resource this time around because we rolled kind of what we needed, which is always preferred. Okay. Uh-oh. We have ourselves a robot uprising. That's no good. Robot rights indeed. We have 1, 2, and 3 as the things that activate, and if those are rolled, it sends a unit to infirmary. We need, of course, an engineering die to fix it, which makes sense. So let us roll. 4 damage, or 4 is the roll. Thankfully, that's a 1, 2, 3, so that's not going to do any trouble for us. Oh, and of course, no engineering, and additionally, oh boy, here we go. So those 2 would be assigned up there, which returns all those dice and gives us yet another one of these. Oh boy. Oh my. Now this star, I'm not sure what that star means. I haven't seen that before. Let's take a quick look in the rules, shall we? When drawn, place this card above all external threats. It cannot be attacked. Oh. Only going away when the threat number is rolled. Additionally, solar winds does not prevent attacks to the orbital cannon. Fascinating. So basically, this thing is just going to hang around until such a time as we roll this 2. And then when we roll that 2, we're just going to take 5 damage to the hull, and then this card goes away. My goodness. Okay, well, we are not completely without help here, though. We could send these here to deal 3 damage to this scout to get rid of that at the very least, because if this were to have activated, if we left this thing alive and this activated -1 to our, or -5 to our hull, this would make it lose an additional hull, so that'd be -6 to the hull in total, which is not good. Strange that our guns, or our tactical resources, cannot quell a robot uprising, but I guess the idea is we want to reprogram them, not necessarily destroy them.
You'll be deactivated for sure.
Okay, we will have a full pool of dice for the next time, but we still have things to go. Don't panic, nothing happens. Excellently timed, because I'm quite worried about the state of our ship after these things play out. We have a 3, which is going to send one of our units to the infirmary because the robots have risen up against us, Terminator style.
Die, Jedi dogs! What did I say? Oh dear, I'm terribly sorry about all this.
Okay. Oh no, and we are well on our way back to getting another threat card out of there. Yikes. I'll tell you what, though. Let's do this. Let us do that to make this into, excuse me. Oh, there we go. One of these dice, which we'll use to fix the robot uprising, so we at least don't have to worry about that. The science die is not going to do us any good because I don't believe that we can put a stasis beam on solar winds. Something is just telling me that we are not able to do that. So I will play as though we cannot. That guy's in the infirmary, so I can't touch him. We are looking at 3 dice for our next turn. That's not so good. Another interceptor who activates basically no matter what you roll, unless it's a 6. There's a 5. We're going to take some damage to our hull. Wah, wah. Too bad. Okay, but it's not a 2, though, so we don't have the solar winds, so maybe I should count my blessings. Roll those dice. Okay. Very interesting. I'm not sure. I don't believe we're supposed to attack the solar winds. I don't know if you could destroy them that way either. I mean, yeah, it looks like it has the same icon as though it would have health, but I don't know. Something in my mind that doesn't make sense. So it may be the case that you are able to be destroying it, and that's why you set it to one of these health values. But I will play as though that's not the case right now. You know, actually, I was going to use this to get one of those dice out of there. But I think what I'm going to do, actually, is use the command die to make a second tactical die, giving us 3 damage points, which will take out that interceptor before he does too much to bother us. There we go. Okay, one more threat card coming in play. We have Raiders. It's going to ignore our shields and go straight for the hole when it attacks. Oh, and let's roll the threat die. Don't be a 2. Don't be a 2. That's a 3. Neither of those use a 3. Woo. Okay. Okay. I say we slap this science right on there, so we don't have to worry about that. And we can... I could return this guy from the infirmary, or I can unlock one of these. I think I'll unlock one of those, because now we have 2 before we reveal another threat card, whereas I can get that guy anytime, just about. So, okay. I think that's about all I can do this time around. I'll leave that there so I don't forget. Let's get one of these. Oh, we have a mercenary. If no threats activated this round, -2 to the hull. Oh, no! So even on rounds where I get off scot-free, he's going to do something. Now would be a time he would do it. This thing would activate on the 4, but it's in a stasis beam. So this guy is going to do 2 damage to us, which is going to hit our shields first. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, I need this one too. Sorry. Okay. Well, if I put that there, I could get this guy back, which is good. Then this I can... recharge the shields, actually. Because, in a way, stopping this, if this guy were to have been stasis and then that hits, then I'm only just hurting myself again. So, it may be the case that we want the 4 or the 6 here, because -1, even though it ignores the shields, is better than -2, potentially. Okay, and then we have this, which we can change this engineering die into a medical die, I say. And when we assign that there, that means we can return this guy from the infirmary, which means on the next roll, we are going to be rolling all 6 of our lovely dice. Okay. All right, let's reveal one more card. An internal threat. Rescue soldier. Yes, and discard to re-roll all threat dice detected this round. Apparently, I had very difficult experience trying to figure out what that symbol was, or at least articulate what the symbol was. Okay, and let's roll this threat die. Don't be a 2. Don't be a 2. Don't be a 2. It's a 4. -1 to the hull, ignoring shields. Okay, we're at full hull integrity, so that's not too terrible. And if we assign what looks like a medical die here, then we can discard this card to re-roll all of those detected. So I think it may actually be better to wait before we use that, I suppose. I guess we'll see what we have. Yeah, we really don't want to use that just yet, do we? Interesting. Let's go ahead and assign this here to get our hull back to full. Pick. Nothing to heal. We could put a stasis beam on something, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, let's start with this. We'll change this to a tactical symbol. Put 2 there. That's going to be able to allow me to do 3 points of damage to something. Let's go ahead and just do it right there. 3 points. Bloop. There you go. Because 2 points, I feel confident we can get that later. And now, let's assign that stasis effect right there. Excellent. Okay, we're pretty low, or we're pretty much most of the way through this. Yeah, it looks like we have 5 threat cards left. I think we have a good chance at this, my friends. We have more raiders over there. But, as you can see, despite being the same type of card, they have different dice faces that actually activate the effects there. We rolled a 5. Neither of those have a 5. That doesn't have a 5. We are okay. So let us roll. Let's get that. What's that? Oh, sorry, let's roll it again, I guess, because it was kind of stuck. Alright, we have one of those. We can put a stasis beam on something. I guess we'll put it there. Do we want to use this effect? If I do that, I can re-roll that die. Nah, because I could just free it with that die, can't I? Indeed. And let's use this to change this into a tactical resource to shoot that by 1. And this other die, unfortunately, won't do us any good. So let's return everything but our stasis beam. We have a Corsair ship on a 4, 5, and 6. Does -2 health. Pretty straightforward. That's a 1. Thankfully, the only card with a 1 on it also has the stasis beam on it. Haha. So, our stasis beam paid off. We made the right choice. Excellent. Okay, we have 2 science resources. We could... I don't like the look of that one. I don't like the look of that one. This here will be able to finish off this Raiders card for the 1 damage. Then we have 3 engineering resources, but no repairs to be done. I think our engineers on this ship need some cross-training. But I suppose I'll have to take it up with management. Alrighty. Uh-oh. Friendly fire, an internal threat. Immediately send all of your tactical resources to the infirmary. No. So unfortunately, we only had 1, thankfully. So it's just 1 guy. I guess he shot himself, I presume. I'm not sure how that works. But I guess it doesn't specify the number of people that are represented here. Oh, excuse me. All right, we have a 6 here. This has a 6 here, but it is currently under the effect of our stasis beam. So it will not do any sort of thing. Okay. This guy's in the infirmary, and we will have to leave him there until such a time. And then actually, I think this, you just do it and then discard the card. Oh, yeah, it says to the infirmary, then discard. Excuse me. Okay. We have 1 damage here. Let's damage this guy. So he does, even though this guy ignores shields, this guy does more actual, like, brute damage and activates on more potential threat die faces. So let's not mess with that. And let us do that. Because, again, he does activate on more die faces, meaning he has a higher chance of activating. Here we go. We'll spend that to heal up our friend in the infirmary there. This medical die is not going to do any good, and neither is that engineering die. Okay. We'll set those right over there, and we will draw another threat card. We have a Warbird. Oh, boy. On a 4 or a 6, -3 hull, which ignores shields. Yikes. Oh, no. That's a 2. You know what that means. Solar Winds. -5 to the hull. Ugh. And discard. 1, 2, 3, 4... and 5. Thankfully, we were in a healthy spot to actually take that. That could have been incredibly devastating if our shields were lower. Okay. Time to roll. Okay. Oh, you know what? We should have rolled that too. Sorry. And it ends up being a science anyway. Well, I know we're going to do that to get that Warbird out of there because that guy is terrifying. And then let's use 2 science resources. You know what? I'll actually use this science resource to recharge our shields. There we go. There we go. Very good. Now we have a medical die and 2 engineering die. Thankfully, with the engineering die, we can do something. Yeah, but both of these other 2 are essentially not going to do much for us. Okay. All right. Let us get this threat card in play. An orbital cannon. Oh my goodness. That's 1 health. Hits on a 3. -2. Hull cannot be damaged unless it is the only threat. Oh boy. So, in this case, being that that has to be the only threat in order to take damage, I think we have to get rid of this, and this before we can even touch it. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's roll. We have 2 of these right here. Then we have, unfortunately, we don't have any tactical resources. Oh, I should have rolled that. Still no tactical resources. Alright, we can use these to get these guys out of here. Whoops, sorry. Come on. There we go. Then with these 2, I guess I will put a stasis beam there, and then this, unfortunately, is going to be a bit of a waste. Okay, we're going to get those 4 dice back. No threat cards to draw, but we do have a threat die to roll. It is a 6. Thankfully, we put the stasis beam on the correct ship because that means it skips that activation. All right, go, 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 go. Okay, a bunch of science again. One of those. Let's use that to get that die back. Let's put a science there, a science here, and a science here, shall we? 4. Okay, not going to do anything. And actually, you know what? I might be just wasting my time. Because I think if you get through all the... you have to destroy all the external threats. Okay, so we do still have to destroy these bad boys. Alright, a 4. Not going to do anything in this case because we've gone through our threat deck. Very good. Let's return our dice and give some rolls. Because we got to destroy this stuff. That orbital cannon will not deal with itself. Oh no. Fascinating. I'm not sure what happens here. I've never run into this situation before. When you get all those guys up there, but there are no threat cards to draw from the threat deck. These 2 can be put there, I know that. Which is going to be 3 damage, which is, this has 1, 2, 3, which is going to leave the orbital cannon right there. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to assume that that does nothing. You just get your dice back. If I'm wrong, I'll go ahead and post an amendment in the rules. But you don't reshuffle this or anything, because the whole goal of the game is to go through this deck. Okay, so no card is to be drawn. We're going to roll our die here. We rolled a 5. It's not going to do anything terrible for us. And let's go ahead and roll all 6 of this. Alright, we got 1 there. Oh, that was a medical resource. And we got this here, which is going to shoot the orbital cannon, which is, ladies and gentlemen, going to destroy the final threat card in this game of Deep Space D6.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home. Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
We made out pretty well. We ended the game with actually full health, and I really don't feel like we were in very dire straits, so maybe next time I'll have to play on an increased difficulty level. The way that you increase difficulty in this game, 1, is by removing some of those Don't Panic cards. I have 3 in the deck, so I was already playing on the medium difficulty, but I could have played on the hard difficulty where I believe there are only 1 Don't Panic card. That may have made the game a bit more exciting. However, some games I play on medium, because of just the unlucky rolls of the dice, you could really get slammed, and you can lose pretty easily. So the game experience is kind of different every time. You don't really know what you're going to get. You may breeze through it like we did here, or it may be incredibly hard because the dice just don't cooperate. In any case, that was Deep Space D6. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time watching. I'll share some final thoughts here, I guess, before we go. I really like the game, but I think the only thing that it really needs is... How do I say this? I feel as though in games like Friday or One Deck Dungeon, there's sort of a progression of your character where there's growth and you get new skills and new abilities and things like that. And in FTL, the game that this little board is based on, you get the same sort of thing. You upgrade your ship and you get new abilities and new threats come your way. In this game, your ship is kind of stagnant. Like, it's the same thing throughout the entire game. You don't get any better or any worse, necessarily. And the threats, I guess, are accounted so that it doesn't take into account any sort of growth on your ship. That's what I'm hoping for from the sequel to this game, Deep Space D6 Armada, is that there's going to be, like, upgrades you could do. Like, maybe you can upgrade your weapons bay to allow you to do different things with the damage, or you could upgrade your engineer spot to give them new engineering abilities and this and that. Or get rewards for doing, like, off-site missions or, you know, away missions on planets and stuff like that. I think the game would really benefit from having modularity so that each game isn't sort of the exact same. I mean, it's not the exact same since the threat deck is shuffled differently every time, but, you know, your ship remains the same from start to finish, so to speak, which I think it could have been improved if it were allowed to gain some sort of upgrades throughout the game. However, as I say that, I know that there is an RPG expansion for this that came out with the Kickstarter. I haven't tried it yet, called A Long Way Home, which does incorporate those kinds of ideas. Essentially, in that version of the game, you're trying to make your way to a certain goal on this map, and when you go over certain spaces on the map, you have to do, like, little mini encounters. Like, maybe you have to deal with a little mini deck of 15 threat cards or something. And then, while you're doing that, you can assign science dice to research tasks. And the research tasks allow you to unlock little benefits, essentially. Like, maybe it'll be like, you know, you can re-roll the threat die once or something like that. I haven't played it yet, and after playing the base game and tearing through it, I decided maybe that's what I'll do next. If I come back to this game in a reasonable amount of time, maybe I'll go ahead and do A Long Way Home campaign just to see the differences between that and this one. I do know that there is also a mini expansion called like the Ouroboros or something, where basically, like, at the end of the game, there's like a final boss for you to face, and I think that's a really great idea. I haven't faced him before, and I wasn't comfortable trying to showcase it without learning that, so that might also be another thing that we visit when we do the Long Way Home campaign. But I hope you guys had a great time. We look forward to going on to the next game. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.